6 years ago, I moved to China. I lived there all the way up until February of this year when the coronavirus started breaking out and I couldn't go back to China. So today I'm talking about 6 ways that China changed me. I'm going to start off first with the most simple ways and then move my way up to the more dramatic ways that I changed. So the first way that I changed is in my fashion sense. I come from a very small town in New England, and the people here dress like this. Or like this. And that included me for a long time. In China, however, people really seem to prefer a more streamlined, sporty, athletic look. Even the materials are really different. The other thing that is really trendy in Chinese fashion is logos. At first, I was resisting that, but when you're surrounded by it for so long, you can't help but change. I was a very picky eater all my life. Even when I was studying abroad in Japan, I was still a pretty picky eater, but I was starting to get out of my comfort zone a little bit. However, that really all changed when I moved to China, because sometimes you really have no choice but to just eat what is on the table because you don't get your own plate of food. Somebody orders all the food, it's served, and you just take what you want. So if there's not enough of that food that you're used to, you're just going to either go hungry or you have to try something new. I eat a lot of things that you would not normally eat outside of China. Duck blood, tofu, intestines, frog legs, pig's feet, cow stomach, cow tongue. All of those things I have started to eat. The main thing that you need to get over is texture, because the taste is really good. But the thing that bothered me for a long time was the food texture, not the food taste. My accent. It's probably because I've been studying foreign languages for a long time now. I started learning French and Japanese and Chinese, and being around a lot of people whose native language was not English, that really influenced my pronunciation. And I guess that I've started to pick up on certain habits. I was also teaching English, and that required me to speak very clearly. Now, whenever I come home, people always tell me that I sound different or that I don't sound like I'm from here, but they don't know where I sound like I'm from. I have like an accent from nowhere. So that's just the way I sound now. I love using chopsticks, and I miss being able to use them at every possible opportunity. Even so much now that when I'm at home with my family, if I can use chopsticks, I will use them. It's just better. I feel like when you use a fork or spoon, you eat really, really fast and you don't even really enjoy the food as much. You're just shoveling that food in, just shoveling it in. Chopsticks forces you to slow down a little bit, and I enjoy the food more. It's also just more fun. The other habit that I have from China is wearing slippers. Here, I've got them on right now. See, I don't go anywhere without wearing these slippers anymore. I'll even bring them like with me in my backpack, so if I go to my friend's house, I can put them on, because I just can't stand the feeling now of having bare feet on the floor. One interesting fact is that if we wear slippers in the West, we might do it to keep the floor clean or keep our feet warm. But in China, they don't wear slippers to keep the floor clean. They wear slippers to keep their feet clean. The 5th way I've changed is in my Eurocentrism. In the West, and especially I feel in America, we definitely have this sense of classical Europe being the pinnacle of high culture. But when you spend a really long time in China, you just start to get an appreciation for how huge this country is and how old it is. And even the Chinese name, 中国, meaning middle country, is like the middle of the world for the people within this Chinese universe. It's just so vast, and its influences are deep and pervasive everywhere. So my awe for like the grandeur of European classical civilization, it's not gone, but it's definitely diminished. I've seen what the other side of the world looks like. And I've seen that this beautiful Chinese universe developed and existed without any influence or any knowledge of the European one. And where I live in the USA, we can't imagine what our life would be like without that European influence. And the last way I changed was my sense of superiority. It is really common for foreigners to move to China and feel like they are better than everyone. I don't know why, and I feel like I'm a pretty humble person. I try to remain open to new things and new ideas, but to some extent this is just unavoidable. Everybody has some point in their life where they feel like where they come from is what they're comfortable with and they feel like that's best, but it's not true. When I went to China, I saw so many foreigners who were just convinced that China and Chinese culture were like below them. But let me tell you, Chinese cities are super advanced. I have never seen anything like it in any other country. These places are just like cities from the future, and the extent to which new technology is implemented and adopted by people is amazing. Sure, we have advanced technology in the USA and we've invented a lot of technology, but we haven't really implemented it into our life, and people in general, not just old people, but people in general don't adopt new technology in the same way that they do in China. At least where I'm from in the USA, people really drag their feet when it comes to change of any kind. They're like, oh, why do we need to use that new spangled invention? It was fine the way it was. It wasn't inconvenient at all. But that slows us down. And the last important thing about this is that China is eager and ready to learn from the West, but the West consistently behaves as if it has nothing to learn from China. So those are the 6 ways that I changed from living in China. I don't know if any of you watching have spent a long time in China or in another country, and maybe you've had experiences similar to mine. So if you have, I'd love to hear them, and you can let me know down in the comments. If you like this video, please subscribe and click like. I'll talk to you next time. Thanks for watching. 再见.